This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, April 27th, 2021, episode 328.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka, let's go. This is Infection. Welcome to Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We cut out all the fat, we cut out all the BS. We are bringing you the latest on survival video games, screenshots, pictures, updates, all that fun stuff here each and every week. Of course, you can visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. I am one of your illustrious hosts, Nick Craig. You can follow me on Gab at Nick. And next week begins the next phase of my professional career. I'll be doing morning talk radio. You can find links to that at nickcraig.com. Stay tuned for the post show. I've got some audio that will play in the post show. But I could not do this alone. Literally, I've tried. He's tried to do it without me. I've tried to do it without him. It just never works.
Not the same.
It's not the same. You know, hurricanes and tornadoes and COVID and marriage.
See, I luckily had the excuse
divorce.
I didn't have to do camera. We had a little bit of everything.
We've had a little bit of everything moving. I've moved four times. We're still here. Mr. Brian, a freshly shaven Brian with an
yes.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I figured why not, spring, all the joys of things of being able to feel the wind against your face. So figured why not start it off a little bit with a fresh face.
I mean, you're looking pretty cute, hononestly.
Thank you. Hopefully my wife doesn't get jealous here. She's in the chat.
Sucks to be here.
If you want to find me at Brian Aldridge on a Gab or Parler, of course, my blog, biteoftech.com. Most importantly, just go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. On the right-hand side, just click join our server on Discord. That's the place that if you want to hang out, we've got, I think, 8 Ark servers right now. We've got a Valheim server. We've got all kinds of servers going on there if you want to play some games with other people. We also have a news channel. So if there's a topic you think we should be covering, jump in there, paste a link to whatever the topic is, and then we'll review it before the next show. Also, we have our Steam group, if you want, which we'll see. Next week we might not be doing that anymore because it doesn't seem to be working, popping up notifications. But I'll do a little troubleshooting this week, and if it's not us and it's a problem that's not going to be fixed anytime soon, we'll just stop posting that for a little while and try it again later. We also have on there our video forms of the podcast. So if you're wanting to watch live or after the fact and see the video that we're presenting, you can do that through Twitch, through YouTube, through BitChute, or DLive. If you want to watch our podcast extras, there's a channel there that Judd runs for us, and it has some of our pre and post shows, which is some entertaining things that we usually don't feel like having go over the air. If you want to check out our audio only form, just go to the lower right hand side, and there's lots of different links for desktop players, mobile players, web-based players. I mean, just a little bit of everything. You can get email notifications of when we have new episodes, a lot of cool stuff like that. And then we have all of our episodes. We have show notes for those. So if you jump to the latest episode that you're getting ready to listen to or watch, there is a video and audio player inside of there. And then you can click through and just and follow along. Maybe you're listening to it. You can follow along with the videos as we're doing them, or you can just click and read the articles as we're discussing them. So that's one great way to kind of get a little bit more out of the podcast than you normally would. And then if you want to support us, there is a support tab up top. You can go to infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can go to amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com. We have our Prime Gaming subs, as you heard in the intro there. And we also have our, what is it called?
Subscribe Star.
Subscribe Star. And we have a Subscribe Star link on the front webpage. And so if you're interested in maybe not supporting Amazon or whatever it is, whatever reasons, that's another optional way that you could support the show. So I think that's it.
Yes, sir. And I want to thank our friend Green Man Cartoons, who hit us up with, wow, look at this, Brian, 39 months of subscriptions. And I'll say this, I'm not saying this to call anybody out, a 39-month tier 1 subscription here on Twitch. So Green Man, thank you so much.
Pretty incredible.
We miss you. We're hoping to see you later this year and last year as well. I'm not sure that either of those are going to happen. Well, I know last year didn't happen. We're still got our fingers crossed for this year, but hopefully we'll get to see our friend Green Man Cartoons here soon.
Because we did have a blast. I mean, the funny thing is people get to see what we, like our live show that we do there, and then the things that we record. But we had so much fun behind the scenes, just hanging out with a number of the people and just having fun. I mean, it was a blast.
Literally hanging out. Yes.
Nick was hanging, literally
hanging from a tree. And hanging from Green Man, hanging from Green Man's torso.
But my favorite part is still the homeless man asking you if you were okay. That will never leave my mind. I will remember that moment forever.
At least you remember it, because I don't. So
Nick doesn't remember it at all. I just thought it was hilarious.
I just remember being home, being like, "Wow." By the way, I gotta say, we do have, Brian. We have some great fans of the show. One of them being our good friend UGX Vibe, who I've had many of very romantic dates with. We went on a Valentine's Day, very romantic.
Nice.
He invited me and another one of our friends, Mr. Subdivisions, up to his house on Saturday for some homemade, slow-cooked, smoked ribs that we ate.
Good old Southern cooking is what it sounds like.
Fall off the bone. We did, while we were eating dinner, watch Cool Cat Stops Coronavirus. There were mouths ajar the entire time watching this monstrosity. So we watched that. We shot some guns. We drank some beers, and I left with a vacuum sealed pack of bacon and some ribs to take home. So this man subscribes to our podcast and pays us, and then invites me to his house to drink his beer, eat his food, shoot his guns, and here we are. So it was a very good time. It's nice to nice to see him.
Hey, by the way, Jonesy came to visit me one time, and I had to buy him dinner. What's up with that? Just remember that, Jonesy.
You're the eldest. You're the eldest of you're the.
I know. I figured I was the older man, so
significantly. But I will say this: if you have the opportunity, and this is not some Chris Hansen stuff, if you have the opportunity to meet up with somebody that you've met online that you like, you're comfortable with, you really should take the opportunity. Meeting you, Brian, Lance, Sean, Green Man, UGX Vibe, Subdivisions, our friend Amnon, having met all of these people that I built such a strong relationship with online, our friends Steve, Andrew, it's just, it really is, it is one of the coolest things ever, to meet these people and hang out with them in person. So if you ever have the opportunity, I'd highly recommend you take advantage of it, and want to thank
as long as you feel safe.
Vibe. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We're not saying just randomly the next person that invites you.
I mean,
over,
frankly, do whatever
online.
you want. I don't really care. It's not my problem. But but I've had nothing. I've had nothing but good experiences, and I know you have as well. So would highly recommend that. I want to give a shout out to Bob and thank him for hosting us and allowing me to watch Cool Cat at his house. It was a good time. All right. Let's talk about some video games. One that we covered. Now, I feel like we got. Did we get free keys to Deadside? I think we did.
Either we did or I purchased it. I don't remember, or maybe one of us. I don't remember.
I know I've played it.
I played it. I
may have bought it. We may have gotten free keys. I don't remember, to be honest. But I do remember this. When it first came out, I remember specifically saying that this game had a lot of potential. It had a lot of the features. I don't think features is the right word, but it had a lot of the things that a survival game needs. The feels, exactly. It just had the feel of a survival game. And they've been actively working on it. It's a $20 game. It's on the Steam store. Its overall reviews are very positive. For an early access survival game to have a very positive review rating, which is 80% plus, is almost unheard of. I would beg to say. And its recent reviews, which is almost 500 of them,
especially for a highly
positive.
unfinished. For a highly unfinished survival game, especially because usually at this point in time when they're still building it, people are ripping them apart. I mean, games like this. I mean, look what happened to Dead Matter as soon as they put out any content. The game, you just don't hear anything anymore, and people ripped it apart and they kind of went away. These guys, they're catering to their correct audience. They're not promising. It's the closest thing right now that I feel, kind of the H1Z1, the positive parts of H1Z1 that I remember playing, the way that the guns work, the movement, kind of the atmosphere. It's one of the closer things to H1Z1 that's out there at the moment.
It is,
not the negative part.
Yeah, it is unfortunately missing some key features. One of those being a vehicle system, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Another one being its kind of lackluster base rating and building system, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But before we do any of that, what I wanted to do, Brian, was quickly look at the current players for Deadside. So looking at it right now, there are, why is my graphic not pulling up here? There are, there it is. All right, there are currently 483 people playing Deadside. Its 24-hour peak is 779, and its 70 peak is just shy of 1,000 at 936. And I only bring this up, well, I bring it up for a couple of reasons, but the big reason is it's got I wouldn't call this a large community, but it's obviously a community of people that are enjoying the game because, again, looking at its almost over 16,000 reviews on Steam, they're pretty positive. So let's take a look at this update here. This is a work in progress update for 0.1.2. And they say that, hey, we're congratulating you on the anniversary of the project. I don't know why they'd congratulate us. It's their project. But they're talking about the update 0.1.2 that's been in development for a really long time. They're going to cover the features of this update. First one is skins. They say that they've noticed a lot of enthusiasm with skins, and they didn't really have a good system for that. So what they're doing with this 1.2 update, and it's not in the game yet, but what they're doing with this update is implementing a new skin system that will give them the option down the road to add new skins for holidays or special events or whatever. It'll be a lot easier for them to do that. And then they're planning eventually to give the ability for players to create their own skins, which is really, really cool. So that's one of the things that they're going to be working on for 0.1.2, not the custom skin system, but the whole rewrite of the skin system and allow that. This next one is interesting, Brian. This is this one is what Miscreated should have done. So Deadside has an inventory system. You have crates and boxes and things that you can store weapons in. But they've added what they're calling the Steam terminals, which look like Amazon lockers. If you've seen those in Whole Foods or anything like that. And unlike, so similar to Miscreated, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a locker system. It is an inventory system that links to your Steam account. Now, what is the benefit of this? They're saying this will give you the option to easily transfer items between servers. So let's say you just want to go on a server and just kind of run around and do whatever. You can do that, get a gun, whatever they haven't exactly listed what they're going to allow you to store, but get a gun, a weapon, maybe it's a skin, depending on maybe how that's in. And it will allow you to transfer that item to your Steam inventory using the terminal, which, by the way, will have a fee. It will require some sort of in-game currency, and then go ahead and retrieve that on your primary server. So it will allow. It is not taking over an inventory system. It is
any kind of they have local inventory. They have all those things.
Yes.
And one thing I want to point out, this is good, especially for private servers, because it's very difficult to transfer thing between an official server, official public server, and someone's private server, because you don't want someone generating something in a private match and then you don't want them to have the ability to generate unlimited things if they want, if it's something you don't want other places. They can kind of figure out the limitations, figure out what they want to allow people to transfer. Is this something that you want someone to be able to spawn in on a private server, store it to their Steam? They have the ability to kind of limit those things right now, but also open it up so that if someone wants to have a special skin that they wear on this private server, they could transfer it from another server where they own it, whatever it is. But if it's used right, I think this will work. I really didn't like how it worked with Miscreated as an excuse for not having local inventory. That was their way to get around it. These guys are using it in the way it's intended, a good way to transfer things between servers, not a storage solution.
Also, with this is trading. So this will allow you to bring something back to Steam and then trade it on the Steam marketplace. So that's something that's cool that most survival games don't have. That is one of the
actual
things that
items.
Working on. Yes. Some new things that they're going to be working on. They're going to be adding new military suits, new ghillie suits, new combat helmets, new weapons, including the Scar and the FAMAS, many modules for weapon modifications, which I'll show a quick picture of right here. You can see extended mags, suppressors, ACOG scopes, drums for machine guns, all of that stuff that they'll be adding. an explosive, which will be a tripwire and radio-controlled explosive devices, which can also be used in base raids, a compass, which will help players coordinate, and then a balaclava, which is
like the thing you wear over your head.
Yeah, it's like you wear in conjunction with the ghillie
It's
suit.
like a ski mask where they have the opening around your eyes.
Yeah, so you'd wear that in conjunction with some sort of camo to stay hidden. So they've got all that stuff, and then I'll just quickly show you a couple of these. Here's the ghillie suits. There's the balaclava. Here's the very oversized military helmet, FAMAS, and then some sort of a SCAR style of gun. New activities. This is an interesting one. They're adding what they're calling a convoy to the game. This is going to take place on both PvP and PvE servers. So sporadically throughout the game, sporadically throughout the server, there will be a convoy going on, which will be NPCs transferring a high-tier item or high-tier items from one point to the other. These special forces will just show up on the map, and you'll see in what direction they're moving. And the goal with that, obviously, is to go kill all of the NPCs that are carrying it, take the item, and then return it to a certain location. This is a little bit different, though. They're doing something different. So instead of just killing the NPCs and then getting the item, you kill the NPCs, you get the container, but then you have to bring it to a certain point on the map. What that means is that if you're one random guy running with this container and you've just busted your ass killing all these NPCs, one random guy kills you, takes the item, completes the rest of the quest. So that's kind of Tarkov-y a little bit. The icon will stay.
I think it's a really good PvP incentive. I mean, it's a great way to get people
incentive
fighting and chasing a guy, and especially if you make it to where whatever's in that is enough of a reward to be something that's sought after on the server.
Yeah. So it's cool that it allows it. So there's a double-edged sword. Of course, you've got to kill the NPCs. That's tough. But then you've also got to take the briefcase. In this case, they show it's some sort of orange Pelican case with duct tape, which I'm not sure what that's all about. But
the latch is broke or something. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So Pelican case with duct tape, and have to bring that to a certain location to retrieve the award. So that's pretty cool. On top of that, they're also adding new areas to the map. They are going to expand the world more to the south. And I do want to thank our friend Valp1 and Tag Durante for both hitting us up with the resubscriptions here on Twitch. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. Thanks for your continued support of the program. So, adding this stuff to the south, there's going to be new settlements, a bunker, a large industrial area, and a seaport, which will be cool. It's going to have big sea cranes that you would expect to see. And they're saying is also a convenient place for campers to be. So you can see, and we'll show a couple pictures here in a minute, but you can see this is what part of what the industrial area looks like, as you would expect. There's train tracks running through it. You can see the cranes kind of in the distance, and then some sort of smokestack system there. And then here's, I guess, another one of the new areas that they're adding. You can see there's two large water features, and then a couple of houses, some barns, and some other things, again, all kind of around a railroad track. So they're going to be adding that to the game as well. And then the final thing is base rating. They're implementing a full base rating system. It's going to be a little bit different than some other games because they want to exclude passive gameplay when attackers can raid a base of an offline player without difficulties. But the process of raiding itself will be classic.
We were pros at that.
Yes, we were, absolutely. So they've added those two new things, the trip mine grenades and then the radio-controlled explosives. But with this, they've also added base permissions, which was one of the things that they didn't have, which made the game impossible to play because you essentially had to build your own base for everybody because if you logged out, nobody could open your base. They'd actually be stuck inside. There was no way to give anybody permissions. Yep. So they're adding that now. They've given you the option to build, and you'll be able to do that with your friends. And there's a full write-up on that if you'd like to go read about that. But base rating will be in this update. And then one other thing that they're going to be working on, they actually have already worked on, and there's actually a GIF of it here, is vehicles, which was something that they're missing.
Yeah.
And you can see that there is a full plan for a what they're calling a transport system, but it's a little bit further than a plan. You can see it's fully, working. They're driving. There's a speedometer. There's a fuel meter. There's a whole thing there. So that's not going to be in this update, but they do say it is something that they're going to be working on, and they're going to hopefully have it in the game as soon as possible. So
and I would be surprised.
Pretty large update.
I'd be surprised if, I'd be surprised if after this happens, you don't start seeing boats, because a lot of it is them coming up with the movement system, like the driving system. Then once they have a system for it, they can apply that to their vehicles. So, they do it on one, then they'll probably have ATVs, whatever else they put in here. And then I wouldn't be surprised after that if you start seeing boats, because they're putting in that seaport. And the things that they're putting in this list are pretty much the things that we said day one after we played it. Man, this game would just really needs these couple things, and it would be right there with what H1Z1 was when we stopped playing. Of course, without all the bugs and all the craziness, but the driving system, having some sort of a base rating system, make it to where there's actually things to do on the map. And then they have a lot of screenshots. I don't know if you want to show those of some of the new locations.
Can you guide us through a couple of these, like what we're looking at?
Yeah. So this is the factory. Is the big location that they're adding. So this is specifically some screenshots of factory. You can see here. They're still, I'm sure there's going to be a little more polish on it, but be very nice high areas for maybe sniping from, scoping out people. A very good place to kind of go and watch large areas if you want to be one of those people that just kind of to start sniping people that are passing through. Mm-hmm. And then you can see that they've got the inside pretty well decorated. There's a lot of just objects and things to clutter the buildings, because these are all abandoned. This is a post-apocalyptic world. See here, this looks like kind of a drawing room or something. Yeah, that looks like more of like a presentation room. This here's more of a drawing, maybe for drawing schematics and things like that.
Yeah,
looks like it's in Russia, so it's kind of that
it's
old Russian theme.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting. I think this is going to be a huge thing. Hopefully, it starts making those current players to rise, because a lot of people they see a game like this, it doesn't have driving, so they don't play it. I think it's got a lot of those things that people have on their checklist of what they need in a survival game before they start playing it. I think they're about to check those all off.
I would say, if you were going to spend $20 on an early access game, this is probably be the one I'd put my money in. I think this one had a bunch of the features. It's continuing to add the features, and I think it's probably got the best bet of being something. Will it be the next greatest thing? I have no idea, but it does. Well, I don't think you'd be upset spending $20 on this game. That's just my opinion.
No. And one thing too is I like the fact that they're not just shoving in features all broken. Because that's what you see sometimes too, is they'll be like, oh, we can do this, and they put everything in kind of a quarter or halfway done, and nothing ever quite works well. So that's something I just think that for this, I appreciate the fact they take their time. They're not putting vehicles out there broken, because that's what really will kill a lot of people's perception of the game, is when everybody starts posting videos on YouTube of cars falling off the earth and doing stupid things they're not supposed to do. So these guys seem like they're taking their time, polishing everything, because when we played it, the game played well. If it was in there, we tested the roaming bandits or whatever they are, the mercenaries and things roaming around. We tried PvP. The gunplay worked well. Everything that we tried at that time worked as I think intended. And then the only thing that was really skimpy at the time was the base. Anything with base building.
Correct. So that is
hopefully soon.
That is Deadside. We'll continue to track it, and they did. And by the way, I just got the Steam notification. Only 28 minutes later. They did say there's going to be another post. This is they don't have a time frame for this yet, but it's soon. They're going to release another post that's got details into all of the features and a release date on that. So stay tuned for that. Here's another game that we haven't really talked about in quite some time, because there really hasn't been a lot of news. Coming off of the hotness of the HBO show Chernobyl, which was like a 6 or 7 part miniseries, which was phenomenal, by the way.
Excellent. If you have not seen it, watch it.
Yeah, and I don't watch a lot of content, and I say watch it. It's very good. there was this game called Chernobylite, which was got kind of like The Forest or Firewatch, and it was a single player kind of small story driven game. And now we finally have an official full release date for the game, as well as a trailer. So let's take a quick look at that, and we'll discuss some of that stuff right after this.
A blink of an eye takes 300 milliseconds, and it can change everything. Tatiana, my love, you've been gone for so long. Everything I did has led me up to this moment. I'm a man of science. I'm not counting on miracles. I will be meticulous. I will be thorough. I won't put my guard down. I will find allies.
You cannot succeed alone, but there are others who will help you.
I will survive day after day. I will travel beyond space and time if need be. All I need is a plan for everything to change. All it takes is a blink of an eye. I'm coming for you, Tatiana. No matter what.
Wow. A really well done trailer. Now we know, I'll be the first to admit, we know trailers are not always indicative of a game, but the good news is the game has already been out for early access. So people have already been playing.
So you can buy it right now and play the early access version. This is just announcing the going to full release version of the game. So no longer be in early access. And that's going to be in, is it July?
It is July of 2021.
July of 2021.
It's going to be on Steam, GOG, freaking Xbox One, and PS4, which is retarded. Again, new consoles have been out going on a year.
So let me clarify that though. So it's going to be released. You can still download, install it, and play it on the new consoles, but it's not optimized for those consoles yet. I think that's what they're saying. Is usually once you optimize it for those consoles, then they have like the X/S for example on the Xbox, showing that is a game optimized for the new consoles. I would assume at some point they will, officially say it's released for this when they optimize it for the hardware.
This whole thing is, I don't want to get into a tangent because we only have an hour, but this whole new console thing is still really, I mean, it makes me wonder, why would I go spend $600 on a new console when a game that's not coming out till July is going to look and play exactly the same on my Xbox that's from 2013? It just,
yes, and that's the kind of the downside right now is I've been waiting for that game. Then I'm like, oh, I need to play it because I've got the Xbox, the S, which is a little bit better than the old Xbox Series X, and so there's no game that I've seen yet that is like, okay, this looks better on this console. I have them side by side. My Xbox Series X is on a 4K TV, the other one's not, but I'm still waiting to get one that actually has some sort of a benefit for having the new console.
Yeah. And this, I don't think is going to do that. So, but I will say this, if you want to play this game, you might be better off buying it now. It's $23.99. It's 20% off till April 30th. You know what I think I'm going to do, Brian, is I'm going to buy it and just not play it until July so that I can get it for $24 and then just play it once they do their final release. Because again, it's one of those games. It's a single player game, so you don't want to. In my opinion, you don't. And now they do say it's 95% done, so you could play it, but it might be worth buying it $23 and then just
Especially in a single player game, I usually like to wait because if you're playing through a story, I want it to be done because I don't want to go back and like, oh, well, we fixed this quest and we fixed this stuff back here. We added content back here. It's like, well, I don't want to replay the whole game just to go see that new mission or that new set of stuff you did. Another thing too, they have another sale. Like they have a little bundle where you get another game they made called Metamorphosis and that one's 54% off. So it's like if for $2 more, you get a whole nother game. So if you're interested in that, you could do that as well.
Yes, sir. So that is Chernobylite. Stay tuned for that in July of this year across a couple different platforms, or you've got till Friday to get it for $24 on Steam.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
All right. So do you care where we go from here?
No, sir. We're about halfway through. So lead us to where we may be.
All right. So let's go ahead and I wanted to bring up a few things. Well, let's talk really quickly first. War zones. I saw an interesting article, and it was the director of War Zones crying about cheaters. And
Talking about Call of Duty War
I'm
Zone?
waiting for. Yes,
Okay.
he said. Here's what he said. He said, "Cheaters are ruining some of the best work that I've done in my life because the number of cheaters in Warzone has been pretty crazy." For instance, Activision announced that it banned more than 475,000 cheaters since Warzone went live. And there's been, weird issues and things that have happened, but this is something that I just more wanted to bring up the topic of cheaters and how it affects games like these. It's something that we have seen just get worse and worse. Really, we saw it just pretty much kill H1Z1 or King of the Kill.
Oh God, yeah.
We've seen some other games where it's just killed those games because you can't go and play a serious game without hackers and cheaters and ridiculousness happening, and there's very little that they can do. Now, I was kind of thinking to myself, one of the only ways that we'll get around this is I think maybe cloud gaming. And what I mean is the whole streaming of gaming, because the whole thing this comes down to is the injection of code and injection into the process that allows people to do all these cheats. There's very little that without having access to that they'd be able to do. And I'm kind of curious if cloud gaming is not going to be so much about the ability for remote play, but for actual competitive, honest play, I guess I'll call it, right? If you don't have the ability to even access, all you're getting is a stream of the content. You don't have the ability to really to do anything super nefarious. I mean, you could try a few things, but they can control the experience that you have. And I think that we're finally getting to the point where maybe that is something that's doable. I did try the streaming. Remember last week I said I would try to see what streaming to my phone would do with the Xbox. Now that of course is a local thing. It pretty much seems like it's just doing a screen share, and I have to figure out, like I have to somehow hook up a controller to my phone or something to get it to work right. But, that works. But I'm talking about streaming from their servers, actual cloud gaming where you're streaming from their servers to your desktop. Stadia, PH brings up Stadia. That's something that
There are probably no hackers on Stadia.
I think that was something that was done not quite well enough. But I think that eventually you will hit a point where certain games, they will offer the streaming service as a way to play, to guarantee that you're playing against no other cheaters in a game, to actually see how people perform. And I think eventually that's where we'll have to go, because the way it is right now, I guess it's the equivalent of with Netflix. Netflix, you're streaming a movie just like you used to do with a DVD. I think eventually we get to that to where that's just kind of a normal thing that people do, in high bandwidth areas, and they don't even think about it.
Now, but hold on. If you're going to make that point,
but yeah,
there are still piracy still exists on Netflix. You can stream and torrent Netflix exclusive shows,
but you can't do that with a game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I understand, but I'm saying, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's not. Did it cut down a lot on piracy? Yes, but if you go on the Pirate Bay right now and try to download House of Cards, which was an Netflix exclusive, there are thousands of torrents and thousands of people seeding and downloading those torrents. So,
and PH brings up some other things too. I brought this up. I don't remember, it was a year ago, 2 years ago, about Microsoft in putting it into the operating system, ingraining it enough in the operating system to where you can't do these type of things anymore. And I think Microsoft is working that way, but they've got to have so much backwards compatibility with to make things work, old applications work. They can't just flip all these switches and lock everything down, because all these programs will no longer work.
Yeah.
And so I think that will be one way where you can go through and Microsoft you'll have a verified, install of an operating system where it does checks and verifies that, nothing's been tampered with, nothing's being injected. I think that'll be one way, but I think another way will be where on a lot of games where maybe it's not super fast shooters, but something that is competitive online, we'll start seeing maybe streaming cover those.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a little side rant, but that I think is, I just thought it was interesting, these developers and these directors of these games just saying, hey, these cheaters are ruining this perfect vision that they had for a game. and the perfect thing that we liked, enjoyed about H1Z1, same thing. It got destroyed. And it's like, what can you do about it? And they Daybreak figured out as well, there's very little you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't, it comes down at the end of the day, you can't force users to do something a certain way. They're going to do it the way they want to, and you don't really have any control over it. Now, cheating's a different story, but still, you have no control over it. So,
yeah. And then there will be some games that just don't work with, let's say, for instance, streaming. PH brings up CSGO, Call of Duty. These battle royales and a lot of the games that everybody's cheating in right now are very difficult to switch over to anything better. And so I think those will be kind of plagued until they come up with another solution.
But if everybody had 10 million, if everybody was streaming,
yeah, then it would be. But that's the thing is, if you put everybody on on an equal platform, you wouldn't really notice.
Your 10 milliseconds delay doesn't matter.
They could do a little predictive stuff, things like that to kind of help. But I think that as long as everybody was on the same playing field, they wouldn't notice. And I think I think that you would find enough of the competitive people willing to try that if they knew that they weren't playing against someone who was cheating. The other things, I mean, there may be, then they can look at like the mouse inputs. Are they doing anything weird with macros? I mean, you could really inspect that because they're sending them directly to the server. That would be the only way I'd see them cheating is with the inputs.
Agreed.
All right. So now I wanted to follow up on another topic that we've talked about in the past however many months is GameStop. Sure. You gave great advice for people to invest in GameStop and hopefully people became rich off of it. But if they did not, there is the CEO, it pretty much it says is bailing out with a 180 million golden parachute thanks to Wall Street Bets. So that whole thing where all of a sudden GameStop stocks were going high, that was a group that called them, was it a Reddit forum? They called themselves Wall Street Bets
on Reddit. Yeah.
And they really got it going forward. And so this is, of course, I'm sure PC Gamer is going to say, oh, this is horrible that he's getting this, but they helped them to reach these incentives and he got a pretty decent payoff out of that. So, I guess it was a win for them at least. So I just thought I would follow that up with a little extra news out of the whole GameStop fiasco.
Yes, which fiasco it was. Let's talk about Conan Exiles here for a second. There's an update out, 2.4, and there are some changes in it. The first one being that the Isles of Sipta have the map has been increased in size. It doesn't say exactly how big it is. It doesn't give us a kilometer basis or square base, but it does say that there's a new territory increase on the size of the map. It's around the same size as the Exiled Lands, and it's called the Isles of Dusk and the Isles of Dawn, and it contains 3 new biomes as well. So the expansion doesn't bring only new biomes, but also new types of enemies, such as the Gray Ones and the First Men, which is incredibly sexist. New creatures, a host of new NPC camps, massive ancient ruined cities, and a new PvE mechanic tied to the mysterious green pools. So there's new biomes in there, and then there's, as we go through the...
Now, they redid the lighting as well. Can you show the screenshot of that about halfway down on their one that says announcement? There's kind of they've redone the lighting system. So that's before, and you kind of get a look at that, and you can see they've kind of just made it to where the shadows are a little bit better. So
look at the grass. I mean, you can see like the grass, the close grass to you is all dark and kind of bleh. With the new lighting, it's more vibrant. It's like the sun. There's no sunshade anymore, which is kind of what this looks like. There appears to be a sunshade directly in your point of your main point of view. So
yeah, and so I saw some other screenshots somewhere else. It definitely does look a lot better. And they have also added lots of new bosses and one thing I was seeing, there's a lot of stuff with spiders in this because there's a new spider god. And so they've been adding various spider things in there. I know. So that may scare you away from the game. So
Firebomb says, would you classify Conan as the most successful survival sandbox game?
Ark, the thing is, Ark would be one of them that would be, I think, more successful than Conan as far as players. And I mean, Conan, one thing that they have been incredibly successful is in the RP community. I think that they're one of the most successful RP games of this type, where people, and it wasn't made to be RP, but I think they really embraced the RP community. But I think as far as survival aspects, I would say that Ark is is probably farther ahead and has more players and would be known by more people. And especially since, it's been out on console, they've had a mobile game. I think Ark would be ahead, but I think these guys, for the amount of time that they've been out, has been very, 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 very good.
And it's pretty impressive numbers here still from the game that's been out for years now. 9,349 currently, the 24-hour peak, 13,625. Pretty impressive, to say the least, that Conan still has this player base. By the way, 100% owned by Tencent. They have not destroyed the game.
No.
They have not made any massive changes. If anything, they've only expanded on it. So, just something to keep
soon
in mind
after they took over, they started really pushing out some additional content, which most of the content we'd be seeing before that was for the RP people. I think maybe they came into the scene and said, well, okay, great, you're serving the RP community, but let's serve the rest of the people as well, which is what a lot of this stuff is now.
Yep. So that is Conan Exiles. Check it out.
All right. Well, let's talk really quick about Microsoft, kind of a follow-up on the last week, where there was an update that came out that was just trashing frame rates. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I actually had to go manually and uninstall it because it was just caught anything that used any kind of 3D graphics on my computer just caused everything to start lagging. So they have put out an update for this. And so now, before you would have had to have uninstalled it. But I think as of probably 2 days ago, they put out another update that overrode the one that ended in 1330 and 1337, and now you have one that kind of fixes those, so you shouldn't have to do any manual things. You should notice that your computer, as long as you're up to date on Windows Update, is operating normally again. Another thing with Microsoft is they put out their earnings report, and I just wanted to point out that they have huge growth in gaming and cloud, which is pretty much the Game Pass. A lot of what the Game Pass is, and the money they've been bringing from that. This has brought them to a near $2 trillion valuation. So they're doing incredibly well. Their stocks are up 50% over last year, and they're at 1.97 trillion. The only person ahead of them right now is Apple. So I think they're doing very well. Apple, I mean, personally, I think Apple's been slowing, in the past couple of years, as they've become less of an innovator. But I think Microsoft is definitely showing that they're the innovators right now, and they've just been increasing their income and their revenue like crazy ever since this Game Pass started really being pushed and changed. So good for them. Hopefully they continue to use this and to make it a better value, because seems like that's what they've been mostly doing is, they talked about raising the price, they backed off on that, but they've just been trying to put more value into it so more people subscribe, and it's working. And I think it's the best for us. It's the win-win for us as well.
I would tend to agree. Absolutely.
Now, one thing, Sony, on the other hand, trying to catch up, they are pushing into cloud gaming. So they have said cloud gaming is coming, but they promise that it will not be an Xbox Game Pass clone. They said they promise it to be uniquely PlayStation, and they want it to stand apart from the Xbox. No, they call it Series X killer app, but that it's more of an offering, product. But they're claiming that this is going to be different. It'll be interesting to see what they consider better, because their PS Now wasn't great.
Not at all.
And I think that they're going to have to come out with something that's incredible to compete with this, and I don't think they have the leverage right now to do it. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with and offer. But just want to keep people aware that they are looking. One thing interesting before we leave the Sony topic is they actually did a partnership with Microsoft in 2019, so that their servers in Japan could use the Redmond's Azure cloud servers. So they're actually using Microsoft servers for a lot of their things over at Sony because they don't have the infrastructure. So it's not like they're mortal enemies, but they definitely
unless Sony plans on just buying everything game wise, they're I'd say good luck. That's the sentiment I can pass along to them. Good luck, because I don't think they have a fighting chance.
We'll see if they accept that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't have to accept it. It's just a reality. Let's talk about Ark for a second, Brian. And I don't know if you have the answers that I'm looking for. So there's an announcement here that they're doing a cluster merge. So they said here that they are merging their classic PvP clusters, and they're announcing a new Conquest season. I believe they're wiping the official PvP servers. That's what I'm understanding. Is that
they're
correct?
Bringing all of those servers into this new Conquest. So they're going to be
everything is
Conquest
wiped.
servers. But all the old, from what the ones that are classic, considered classic PvP.
Okay.
So next week you're going to see let's look at this closely. So they're seeing an end to the current PvP season, and then a new one.
Season.
So the 27th.
It's been the same season since what, 2015?
Yeah, something like that. So today is the cutoff date for that.
Yep.
So after that, it's going to be followed by the new Conquest PvP season on the same day. So I think they're leaving the old mechanics, the old PvP mechanics, and switching them over to the new mechanics. This new Conquest PvP mechanics, and putting them into those seasons. So just kind of getting rid of the old way. So players look, one thing that they're going to get. So if you're playing now, you get double XP, double taming, gathering, breeding, hatching. All those things that you normally see. They're going to do some adjustments to like cave building. I think they're going to make sure you can't build this new one. I don't think you can build in caves anymore. They're going to reduce some of the weapon damage. There's going to be a maximum of 100 players per server with 25 people per tribe on these. So those are going to be the rules. And then they're going to have some additional tech components they add into this. Also, they're going to make it so this season, the new season will let players fight on the island, Scorched Earth, Ragnarok, Valguero, and the Center. And then Aberration, Extinction, Genesis 1, and Crystal Isles are going to be added about a week on May 7th. So I don't think, with the way that these ones work, I don't think it's like so much a wipe, but a redoing of the mechanics. It may involve a wipe, but I don't know on these PvP clusters if it's like the other ones that we're used to where there's just huge bases that people have been working on for months and months.
Oh, for years and years at this point, possibly.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's an update there. If you're an Ark player, you've been playing some of the official classic PvPs, you probably saw that change. It did take place this morning. So that's what we've got from Ark.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about Atlas really quick.
Sure.
Because Atlas, they're redoing things a lot, but they have this new system they call Trade Winds. And so Trade Winds is going to bring, first of all, faster boat travel. They're going to have some modules that they're adding, a new map, things like that. And that's coming on April 28th. So that's going to be tomorrow. And so if you're interested in that, there's a video. Let's go ahead and play that video really quick because it shows some of the things that they're adding.
All right, let's take a look. Jonesy says, honestly, at this point, they should just make Atlas a DLC for Ark with a new map.
I mean, they could almost, just improve it. But this one is, so there's a new map that has those trade winds in it. When you go in the trade wind, you go faster. And then they have some additional things for the new modular ship system they've been doing. And then those platform saddles you saw in there, where you can put things on them and put them on creatures and things like that. So that's going to be there starting tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. If you play Atlas, or if you're interested in playing Atlas again, checking it out, try it out tomorrow once they've posted this.
All right.
All right. We're getting close on time. Do you have a preference on anything to, one quick thing. I'll touch on a few things really quick.
Yeah,
Fortnite.
absolutely.
So if you have Fortnite Crew, which is kind of like their subscription season pass service, one thing it's going to be
Bingo,
doing
boom, shakalaka.
next time is offering permanent access to that Save the World mode, which is the original one, which is kind of the PvE version of Fortnite that they've done, where you have to build and prevent the hordes of zombies or whatever they are from taking over your base. That is going to now be permanently free, or you get permanent access to it if you're a part of the Fortnite crew. So something for people, if you're interested and wanted to try that out without paying for it, that you'll be able to access that.
I do want to thank our friend Big Woody Sauce for hitting us up with the 29-month subscription. He says 29 months. That's like, well, a long time. It absolutely is. Thank you very much, Ross. It is greatly appreciated and nice to have you aboard with us tonight.
Yes. One other one. Let's go ahead and let's talk quickly about Fallout 76. They put out a pretty good update, and they also have a video for this. This one is their Locked and Loaded update. So let's go and play that really quickly, and we can see some of the new features.
All right, let's take a look.
The next big update for Fallout 76, called Locked and Loaded, is almost upon us, and there is a lot of ground to cover. Let us not waste any time and dive right into all the new features and changes which you can expect once this update launches on April 27. Special Loadouts is one of the biggest new features incorporated within Locked and Loaded, and we could not be more excited to get it into your hands. It does exactly what you, the community, have been asking for, offering a way to modify and completely reset your character's special attributes. So, how does it work? Once your character reaches level 25, all you need to do is visit a punch card machine in-game, which will allow you to adjust your special, change your perk cards, and save your build into one of the 2 currently available loadout slots. The punch card machines then allow you to swap between your loadouts quickly and seamlessly, which you can also rename to easily tell them apart. These punch card machines will be located at train stations across Appalachia, but for even more ease of access, you will automatically learn the plan to build a punch card machine at your camp. Consequently, this means you can use punch card machines built at other players' camps as well. Speaking of camps, the next major feature to cover is camp slots. Yes, this is going to allow you to build, keep, and swap between multiple camps at once. Assuming you already have a camp built, when you open the map and expand the new camp slots menu in the upper left corner, you will be able to activate a second camp slot, allowing you to safely place down a new camp without destroying your first one. At this point, each of the 2 camps you have constructed are saved in their own slot and can be managed via the camp slots menu. This new menu contains options to rename your camp, turn your public map icon on or off, thereby making it either visible or invisible to other players respectively, and even change the icon of your camp. These options are also available to you when you select your active camp directly from the map. Remember that you can only have one camp active at a time, meaning that others are stored but still ready to be activated at your will by selecting your stored camp and then activate camp. By doing this, your inactive camp will be removed from the world and your newly activated camp will load in its place. Next up, we need to mention that Locked and Loaded is introducing changes to how vending machines and displays work in the game. Vending machines will now have the same shared inventory across all of your camps, meaning that you do not need to reassign the items you are selling every time you build a new camp or swap between a camp. Additionally, because vending machine item slots have become merged into a single pool, you can now sell the maximum number of items with just a single vending machine instead of multiple. Display cases, on the other hand, will not operate in the same way, such that you can still display different items at each of your camps. We have heard your feedback on shelters loud and clear too, and with the next update, both vending machines and display cases will be placeable inside of shelters. And one final point on vending machines. While powering on a vending machine will allow it to sell items to other players, players, it no longer causes your camp to appear on the public map. As mentioned before, this functionality will now be controlled via the new Public Beacons feature, so be sure to turn on your public map icon in the new camp slots menu to attract other players to your camp. Daily ops are getting expanded in this update as well, with a new decryption mode that puts you on a mission to disable radio interceptors for the Brotherhood's Vernon Dodge. Specifically, you will be tasked with hunting down 3 enemy code carriers, holding the codes capable of disabling the interceptors. These enemies will need to be taken down as part of 3 enemy waves, with each becoming increasingly harder, culminating in the final showdown with the Daily Op boss and the last radio interceptor. The decryption mode will also feature a new default mutation called Savage Strike, which makes enemy attacks more deadly by causing them to ignore your armor resistances. So be on guard and utilize sneak if you need to. Daily ops in general are also getting new randomized mutations called Toxic Blood, where enemies leave behind poisonous hazards on death, Group Regeneration, where enemies emit an aura that heals other enemies in the area, and Swift Footed, where enemies have increased movement speed. Moreover, you will now encounter even more enemy types in all daily ops with the addition of Scorched, Mothman Cultists, and Mole Miners. And the locations of Vault 96, Watoga Raider Arena, and West Tech Research Center will be added to the pool of randomized locations as well. Finally, all of your efforts in daily ops will be rewarded with a range of new rewards, including the Covert Scout Armor, new plans for camp objects, and both the Unstoppable Monster and Medical Malpractice Legendary Weapon plans. We have also moved several of the pre-existing rare rewards from daily ops into the uncommon drop list, to make it a bit easier for you to score the new rewards. And if all of that was not enough, Locked and Loaded is bringing even more new content and changes to Fallout 76. Crafting sliders have been introduced into the game, which will allow you to craft items in bulk by using a slider to select how much of each item you would like to make. The World Activity menu has been updated to display nearby player vendors, public events, and active nuke zones, making them easier to find. Aiming with a controller is getting a boost too, with the new aim assist option helping your crosshairs snap to enemies and stay on target when aiming down a sight. Melee hit detection has also been improved, ensuring that the swings of your melee and unarmed weapons are registering more accurately. The Hunt for the Treasure Hunter events will also feature new rewards, giving you more reasons to track down those mole miners when they appear in Appalachia. And finally, this update marks the beginning of Season 4, Armor Ace and the Power Patrol in Cold Steel, which brings a bunch of new rewards for you to work towards, including new items, skins, and even camp objects like mannequins, allowing you to display your cool outfits in the game. So, that finally marks the end of the video. I told you there was a lot to cover. We hope that you are excited for Locked and Loaded. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, at Victorium.
And always, keep calm and stay rusty. All right, yeah, and by the way, that was an official Bethesda video, which they don't do very often. Jones says, we playing Fallout 76 again, Nick.
That patch came out today.
You know, I wouldn't be opposed to playing Fallout 76 again.
It's in the Game Pass as well. For people that don't own it, it's included in the Game Pass.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I played it. I tried playing it. I think I tried playing it when I said I was going to a couple months ago, and just wasn't enthused, to be frank. It wasn't bad. I just was like, eh.
Do you think that this is going to affect going forward all the rest of the Fallout? Do you think this is going to taint the future Fallout 76s?
Oh, well, hopefully there's no more Fallout 76s, but
or sorry, not Fallout, but Fallouts, the future Fallouts.
Yeah, if they follow the same crappy strategy, yeah, it absolutely is going to taint them. I mean, you can have a one-off game that's bad if you bring back what people enjoyed about Fallout 3, New Vegas, 2. I mean, if you bring those features back, then no, it shouldn't taint it. But if you're going to ram forward with this half-assed multiplayer, half single-player, no real story system, then yeah, you're screwed. But that's going to, I mean, that's 100% going to be on them.
That's my concern, is that people are no longer going to kind of gloss over some of the things that we looked at. I mean, if you look at the animations and just the graphics and everything, people kind of ignored that because the story was good and it was it was fun to run around and to do all the things. I'm hoping that this doesn't make it to where people kind of now look at the future Fallouts through the glasses of this, okay, well, their graphics suck, before they let it go. But I'm just hoping this doesn't make it to where they don't, and the rest of them flop from here on out.
Yeah. it's in their own hands. It's in Bethesda's hands, which actually means now it's in Microsoft's hands, right? So we will see what old Phil Spencer and the folks over at Microsoft have to say about it.
All right. How much more time do you want to have here?
We're at an hour, so I'd say if there's anything else urgent that we want to cover, anything new.
Well, how about we cover Apex Legends really quick, because there's kind of two pieces of news with that.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
First of all, they have their new Legacy, and there is a video for this. And so let's go and play the Legacy trailer here really quick. And this is their launch trailer for it. And then we'll talk a little bit about a new version of the game that's coming out soon.
You call yourselves legends. Time for a new game.
I'm in the pipe, 5 by 5.
I've been all on the bottom, understand the whole game. Watch me swerve in the mix. I am in every lane. Y'all all are the same. Everybody so lame. But I'm back for my shine. Get out of the way.
Box 3, sending it home.
Watch me now.
You can have the ground.
Watch me now.
Eye on the sky.
Everybody talk. Do it slow, amigos. Just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
All yours, darling.
You cannot outrun the current. C'est la vie.
I just get it done. Watch me now.
Watch me now.
Oh, hey. How's it going?
Remember me?
Watch me now.
Mirage, really? Again?
What? I'm a legend, right?
Watch me now. Running off the open. Whole squad on the man.
Man, this is really intense.
You're not the only one with fancy moves, beautiful.
I see the end coming.
I love whoever came up with this new game.
Legacy of a champion cannot be measured by simple victories. It is measured by resolve, by commitment to a single focus. Absolution. Conviction. Vengeance. It is time to return the legends to where it started. A little underground brutality.
That's a hell of a way to go.
When you get to hell, tell them Valkyrie sent you.
Welcome to the legacy of the Apex Predators. Welcome to the arenas.
Watch me now.
All right. So they've added 3 versus 3 arena to the game now. They have that new character, Valkyrie, who you were seeing, who has like rockets and a jet and all that. They have some new areas. Olympus is now infected, so they've redone the map visually, and then they have a new bow they've added. Another thing they've announced is they're announced plans for a mobile version of the game. Now, whether or not Call of Duty did it, it actually works pretty well. I mean, for being a mobile version of the game, it feels kind of like Call of Duty. I think they did a decent job of that. Fortnite did it as well. You tried Arks. You know, a lot of these games that are pretty intense, a lot of stuff going on in them, are now starting to go mobile. We'll see if they can pull it off, because this is a very complex game. I mean, you saw all the different variety they were showing in that trailer of the characters, all the different abilities they have. How are you going to pull that off in the same way on a mobile game? I'm not sure, but we'll see if they're actually able to do it. It won't have cross-play or anything like that. It will be free to play at launch. So we'll see if it's something worth trying. But that is Apex Legends, the new update, and then their mobile announcement.
All right, very cool. Well, that that puts us out of time. So I guess
Cool.
Looks like there's nothing crazy that we didn't get to. We'll cover anything next week that is worthy, and yeah, that'll put another episode to bed.
Very good. All right. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me at Brian Aldridge on Parler or Gab. If you want to check out my blog, biteoftech.com, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to go through to our website, infectionpodcast.com, just make sure you join our server on Discord. If there's some news topics you think we should be covering, make sure you go through and put the links for those in the news channel. And then if you want to we did eventually get notifications. So what I'll start doing is automatically posting those 15 minutes before. We'll see if they come through next week at their normal time. And then if not, we'll maybe play with that to see what the cutoff is. If you want to catch the video form of the podcast, you can do that through Twitch, YouTube, BitChute, or DLive. If you want to listen to it, you can do that through the lower right-hand side. There's a lot of links for various platforms that you can listen to it on, or listen to it on a web browser, a mobile app, whatever you'd like. If you want to follow along while you're listening or watching, you do that through the show notes, and we've got links to all the different things we discuss in there. Also, if you want to support us, you can go through the support tab up top, or you can go to infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can go to Subscribestar. We have on there amazon.infectionpodcast.com, humble.infectionpodcast.com, and then the Prime Gaming subs like you've heard throughout the show today.
Yes, sir. And I do want to thank a couple of those individuals, including our friend Greenman Cartoons, Valp, Tagdurente, and Big Woody Sauce, Ross Sauce. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It is greatly appreciated. And Brian, thank you as always. And we'll be back. We'll be back next Tuesday. So with that being said, if you want to follow my new ventures that start next Monday, you can do so at nickcraig.com. I'll have the links and all the information for that up there shortly. If you missed any portion of this show, though, of course, you can go to our website. It's infectionpodcast.com. There's links to everything that we talked about, show notes, videos, pictures, all that fun stuff. My name is Nick Craig. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.